Well, good morning, Verve City Church. Happy New Year to you. Would you stand and sing with us? There is healing in the power of the Lord Most High. There is courage in the shadow of His wings. There is peace unending over all my life. There is freedom that washes over me. I find all I need here in your presence, Lord. I open up my soul and you fill me up with all I need here in your presence, Lord. I open up the floor. There's always abundantly more. There is rest in the goodness of the Lord my God. There is treasure in the kindness of my King. There is comfort in knowing your unfailing love, my provider. You set my spirit free. I find all I need here in your presence, Lord. I open up my soul and you fill me up with all I need here in your presence, Lord. Where blessings overflow, there's always abundantly more. More than I can ask or seek. Let's sing out to Him. More than I could ask or seek, more than I could fathom. God, your love for me is better than I imagined. More than I could ask or seek, more than I could fathom. God, your love for me is better than I imagined. More than I could ask or seek, more than I could fathom. God, your love for me is better than I imagined. I find all I need here in your presence, Lord. I open up my soul and you fill me up with all I need here in your presence, Lord. Blessings overflow. There's always abundantly more than I can ask or see, more than I can fathom. God, your love for me is better than I imagine. More than I can ask or see, more than I can fathom. God, your love for me is better than I imagine, better than I imagine.
Hey, church, as we continue in worship and song, I just wanted to pause for a minute and reflect on the hope that we have when we are in relationship with Jesus. And when things seem unsteady or unstable, it's the hope of Jesus that allows us to remember that God is still working in the background, that He is our way maker. Even when we can't see Him or feel Him, He is working. And when things seem scary or dark, it's the hope of Jesus that allows us to remember that God will give us more than we could ever ask or seek, that He's always up to something good. And that as Christ bearers, we have the choice to be the light of Jesus. God, we just praise you because you're so good and so faithful. And so we just pray your peace over this place, over the hearts of your people. Lord, we trust you in all things. And we just continue to worship you today as we lift our voices up.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. Oh, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop.
is always up to something good, amen? So let's sing this out. Let's fill this place up with our voices. Come on. Here we go. When I'm in the roughest water, I won't go under, I won't drown. And when I'm in over my head, I know that you won't let me down. And when I'm broken and down to nothing, I know that you are always up to something good. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. Even through the deepest valley, you go before me, you are here. And for I know you'll never leave me. Your love surrounds me, I won't fear. And when I'm broken and down to nothing, come on, sing this part out, you know it. I know that you are always up to something good. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. Through the darkest night, you are on my side. You are always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. You are always able. Through the darkest night, you are on my side. You are always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. I know you are always able. Come on, everybody, let's hear it. I know that you are always up to something good. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. You'll make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing your love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. Amen. Let's give some praise this morning. Hey, church, you can go ahead and take a seat.
Well, good morning, Verve City Church. Happy New Year. My name is Audrey Eisenberg. I am one of the pastors here. It's such a pleasure to welcome you all here this morning. If you could do me a huge favor, it is the first Sunday in January, and we are so glad that you are with us. And there are other people who are just running a little late because it's the first Sunday in January. So if you happen to be on an aisle and there's room toward the middle of your row and you can scooch in just to allow for some space for folks who might come in and just want to grab one of those little aisle seats as they come, that would be so appreciated. Thank you for doing a little shuffle for me. If you are new around here, we are especially grateful that you've taken time to come and be with us, and we'd love to say thank you by giving you a gift this morning. So the easy way to claim your gift is in the back of the seat in front of you, or if you're here in the front row, it's right on your seat. We have these little cards, and they're two-sided, but one of the sides is designed just for those of you who are new around here. It's got a QR code at the top. If you scan that code, it'll take you to a quick little contact form that we just invite you to fill out sometime during the service. service. And then at the end of service, we ask you to just bring your confirmation, like right on your cell phone is great. You can bring your confirmation to our welcome spot. That's going to be the neon sign in our lobby. We always have a ton of friendly greeters out there who would love to meet you after service. Hey, speaking of the gift that you get to claim, we actually have a surplus of generosity from our church. Our church collected gift cards to give away at Christmas services, and we have some extra ones. So January is gift card month for new visitors, okay? So if you are visiting, we'd love to be able to give you literally a gift card. After service, it's gonna be in a red envelope, so fill out that little form from the QR code, bring it to the welcome spot, and we will see you after service. For the rest of you thinking about what's going on here at the Verve, on the back of that card, there's always gonna be this handy little QR code that leads you to 3 big things that we've got coming up. And in addition to that, today when you came in, you were handed our winter program, Winter at the Verve. You guys, look at how much stuff is going on here in the winter, okay? We wanted you to have one handy place besides the website where you could see it all, and so that's what this brochure is all about. There are ways for you to connect and get plugged in. There are ways for you to take next steps in your faith. We've got great things coming up for our students and in our kids ministry area and in our community outreach. You will find all of that information in here. It's also on our website. So just to remind you, vervecity.church, right there on the homepage is a great way to start. And kind of if you're looking for something or you're looking for more details, you can find them there. We wanted to put this in your hands early so that you can plan and also be thinking about who you might be able to invite to some of these programs or opportunities that just might be a great fit for a friend, a family member, a neighbor, or something like that. As we're looking at this upcoming year, the one big thing I want to draw your attention to today, and you'll find information about it in here, is Activate. So Activate is a really short course over just a few Sundays where we invite you, if you're new around here or if you're looking to take a next step. Activate is the right next step. We've designed it to be the first step that's like the beginning of a pathway here. So whether you're looking potentially to just learn more about Verve City, like why do we do things the way we do here? How do we think about our mission of helping people find life by following Jesus? Is this the right church for me? If those are the kinds of questions you're asking, Activate would be a great place to start. Plus, during that course, you'll end up discovering some things about yourself. We have one entire session that's dedicated to helping you understand a little more about your unique wiring. Like, how are you uniquely made? And what does that mean when it comes to serving or just finding ways to be a great influencer in your home, in your workplace, in our community? We would love for you to take Activate this January. It starts next Sunday, so don't think hard. Just sign up, okay? That's all we need you to do. Next Sunday, and we're running Activate for the next few Sundays at 10:30 in the morning. So if you normally come to this service, it fits probably pretty conveniently in your time frame. We'd love to invite you to take Activate at 10:30. Stick around, grab some coffee, and then join us for the afternoon service, right? Join us at noon for that afternoon service. We just think this would be a great way to kick off the year with some meaningful connection and some great opportunities to take next steps. If you have questions, you can find me in the lobby after service. We would love to make this an opportunity that works for you. I'm going to invite our ushers to come forward, and as we kind of close this part of our service, we'll take a moment to give as a part of our worship. And we do that each time we gather with the acknowledgement that your generosity truly helps people find life by following Jesus. Those of you who've made a plan to give and consider Verve City Church your church home, in the next few minutes, if you'd like to participate in giving today, we want to give you that opportunity. And if we're not your church home, especially if you're visiting, we just would invite you to pass the basket along your row as it comes and kind of help us out that way. We're going to take a look as our ushers take up the offering at a recap of Christmas services, because Christmas was so much fun and not that long ago, and we just thought it would be really fun to celebrate with you all once again the joy that we were able to share with you and your families and visitors over Christmas. So let's take a look at that video as our ushers take up the offering.
something I must confess. I've got issues.
I've got issues. I've got issues.
Great Scott!
Don't we all? Yeah, but
My issues
Are more complicated than you think.
Oh, really?
In that case,
let me just assure you that
You're in the right place.
Well, good morning. Happy New Year. Hey, it's not bad. First hour, I said Happy New Year, and 3 people wished it back to me. It felt great. So glad to have you here today. We are in a new series called I've Got Issues. We're going to jump into that in just a moment. Before we do, I want to remind you that we always look for opportunities to celebrate life around here. And today, unbeknownst to lots of you probably, is National Pasta Day. And so after we're done here, out in our lobby to the right, you'll find 4 different types of pasta that you can partake in today. And I know you're thinking like, Josh, it's morning, I'm not really up for pasta. But I've seen what you do to chili at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I think you'll be fine. And we're gonna have a great time just hanging out, eating some pasta in the lobby. And I'm sure that our janitorial staff will be very excited about the cleanup. So great to have you here today. I've got issues. We're talking for the next several weeks about just different issues that lots of us deal with. Sometimes we feel like we're the only ones that have an issue, but actually, if you ever sit down and have a good face-to-face conversation with someone, you'll find that you're not in it alone. And today's issue that we're talking about is sometimes I feel lonely. Sometimes I feel lonely. I want to tell you 2 stories that I think kind of put the relational journey that we go on in life to light. When I was 5 years old, first day of kindergarten, I went out on the playground at recess time. I didn't know anybody. I hadn't been to preschool with them or anything, so it was all brand new to me. And I went to the monkey bars, and there was this kid who was doing really amazing things in the monkey bars. And I walked up to him, and I said, hi, my name is Josh. And he said, hi, I'm Zach. I said, want to be friends? And he said, yeah. And we were best friends through the end of high school. Like, that's how I made that relationship connection. Some of you remember, like, making a friend as a child and how easy that was. Some of you remember making a friend in college and how easy that was. You had a shared interest. You were both on the yearbook team, or you both played sports together, or you both, had a particular class together, and it just felt easy. I'll tell you another quick story about a gentleman by the name of Sojin Kato. He's a Japanese man, and in 2010, he became the oldest living Japanese man in Japan. He was born in 1899, so he turned 111 years old. Japanese officials wanted to celebrate the fact that he was now the oldest living person in the entire country. So they showed up at his residence that they had and found out that he was in the house, but had been dead since 1978. Yeah, so he died at like 79, and then he was mummified laying on top of his bed, and was surrounded by kind of newspapers from 1978. His family actually knew he died, but they wanted to keep collecting his pension checks. So yeah, I know some of you are gasping because you're like, oh God, my kids are gonna do that to me one day. So they didn't say anything to anybody, and he didn't have anybody else in his life that seemed to miss him. You can start life off. Relationships are really easy. You're making friends at the monkey bars, and by the time you're gone, people can just pretend you're dead to keep drawing your pension checks. Like that's the relational journey some of us can go on, where we start off knowing so many, and we end by knowing so few. Sometimes I feel lonely, and I'll bet sometimes you feel lonely as well. Here's what's interesting. I don't want you today to feel any shame about loneliness. Like, loneliness isn't shameful. In fact, especially in this day, as we'll look in just a moment, you're more likely to feel lonely than at probably any other time in recent human history. So loneliness isn't shameful. You shouldn't feel bad about it. Loneliness, however, is a signal. It means it's your brain telling you that you need more relational connection than you are currently receiving. Loneliness has become such an epidemic. I remember reading a book in college called Bowling Alone. It was written, I think, in the late 90s or early 2000s, and it was about the loneliness epidemic that was plaguing the West, specifically the United States, and it has only gotten a lot worse in the 30-ish years since that book was written. In 2023, the United States Surgeon General came out with this report, Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation. And it talked about both the healing effects of social connection and also the detrimental effects of social isolation. Last January of 2025, or maybe 2024, The Atlantic released a very long cover article called The Antisocial Century. It was written by an author by the name of Derek Thompson. He talked to a number of psychologists, sociologists, government officials, and just individuals about what our increasing isolation is doing to us here in the U.S. And this is one of the things he said. He said, self-imposed solitude might just be the most important social fact of the 21st century in America. Now, there is a difference between loneliness and self-imposed solitude. Self-imposed solitude can lead to loneliness, but it's not the same thing. Here's what we're increasingly finding in the West, not just the U.S., but all developed Western nations. We're finding an increase in self-imposed solitude. In other words, like, it has never been easier to isolate yourself and still live a fairly functional life than it has been now. I remember a couple months ago, my wife took my kids somewhere for the day, and I was working at home. And 5, 6 o'clock rolled around, and I realized that I had not spoken a word out loud to a single human being all day long. I'd sent like 50 text messages. I'd sent a number of Slack messages. I'd responded to some emails. I had a conversation with ChatGPT about a research thing I was doing. I had watched a documentary on my lunch break, part of a documentary, and I even had the documentary, the voiceover, thank me for watching it. David Attenborough personally thanked me for watching this documentary about nature. And so I felt like I'd had some connection. But you know what? I hadn't had connection. I hadn't actually spoken with someone or had to look into someone's eyes or figure out what they're thinking and them figure out what I'm thinking. Like the back and forth of dialogue, the give and the take, that had not happened all day long. And it's never been easier to go sometimes days, weeks, or months, if you wanted to, and just disengage. You could get all of your entertainment through Netflix and never leave the house. You could have your groceries and every things that you need from the store delivered to you from Instacart. You can have meals delivered hot, fresh, piping-ish to your door, soggy French fries, but other than that, they do pretty well through DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats or any number of things. You can even stay at home and post pictures of yourself on social media doing things that you never did by using AI. You can take a picture of yourself and be like, oh, today I went to the beach. And you didn't go to the beach. You can even say, like, I also regrew hair I wish I had. Like, you can do all kinds of things just using your computer from home. It's never been easier. But this is the choice. Let's get that away. This is the choice. This is the choice of isolation, self-imposed isolation. He goes on to say, a growing number of public health officials seem to regard loneliness as the developed world's next critical public health issue. The United Kingdom now has a minister for loneliness, and so does Japan. Different Western nations are assigning government officials to research the issue, study the issue, try and figure out a way that they can improve their societies by turning down the epidemic of loneliness and self-isolation. Now, there's a cost to this, and nothing I'm going to tell you here is like groundbreaking. If you look up any peer-reviewed psychology paper in any kind of like, well-reviewed journal, you'll find these kinds of things. But over and over, the costs of isolation are things like this. It distorts your perspective when you're isolated. Distorts your perspective because you don't have other people to check your thinking. And so the more you isolate yourself, the more likely you are to jump down a weird conspiratorial internet rabbit hole and start to think weird, conspiratorial, internet rabbit hole thoughts. And you don't have other friends around, you'd be like, that feels like a weird conspiratorial internet rabbit hole thought. You need people to push back on you sometimes. And so it can start to really distort your perspective. You need to bounce things off other people sometimes. What do you think about that? I read this. What do you think about that? You need sometimes people to go like, oh, that sounds really interesting, tell me more. And you need sometimes for people to be like, that sounds crazy, and I think we should talk more about that. You need that. So, pastor, I was sitting in a church a few years ago, small East Texas church outside of Mineola, Texas. And, I'm a pastor. You try to take experiences you've had that you think will be common and use them as illustrations. And sometimes you miss something that happened to you didn't happen to everybody else. And this pastor goes, that feeling when you're driving down the highway and you fall asleep and you go into the ditch and you're heading toward a tree and right at the last second you wake up and like you swerve back onto the road? And the whole crowd was like, no, most of us don't do that on any kind of regular basis, and pretty sure you need medical attention. Like, that does not sound good, right? But he needed to tell that to a friend, and that friend be like, hey man, like I think we should go to a doctor. Like that's not an illustration, that's a personal problem. When you're isolated and by yourself, sometimes like your perspective gets warped and distorted because you don't have other people push back on you. A friend of mine started a new job about a year or two ago, and two guys from the job who had basically only hung out with each other. They were the only people the other one knew hardly. They invited him to lunch one day. So he sits there, and they start talking about just different things, the inside jokes he didn't quite understand. And eventually they started talking about the fact that the earth is actually flat and it's a giant government conspiracy that we ever landed on the moon, or that the pictures from space show that the earth is round. Now listen, I don't want to be controversial on a Sunday morning, but I personally believe the earth is round. Okay, that's just my personal belief because that's true. So he's sitting there with these two guys, and he starts asking them a few questions as to why they believe that, and they don't have great answers for them at all. But they hadn't had anybody sit with them and push back a little bit in the last several years that they've been going down these internet rabbit holes. When you get alone, when you get isolated, you can get kind of weird. Like, it ends up distorting your perspective. It ends up stunting your emotional growth. To sit across from someone and recognize that what you say may make an emotional impact to them, and to figure out, like, how did that hit? How did that land? Should I have reworded that? Like, there's a way that you grow emotionally and in your social skills by putting someone else's feelings in your mind as something to care about, developing empathy. It ends up weakening your sense of purpose. You know, there's one of the great things about having kids is that it does force you, if you try to be a good parent, it forces you not to be so self-centered, because all throughout a given day, you have to center the needs of this developing child over your own needs. And so that means oftentimes you will sublimate your own desires, the own things like you would like to do, in order to better care for the child. And so over the course of the last 12, almost 13 years now that I've had children, I've become a less selfish person because them being in my life has forced me to center myself less. I've become less selfish. But you don't have to have kids to get that benefit. Anytime you are making relational connection with other people and you decide that their needs matter to you, and that sometimes your own best interests or desires need to be sublimated in order to be helpful to them, you start to become a less selfish person. And that makes you feel like you have purpose in life, because my life is about something more than just me. It is also about these other people. And so this weakens your sense of purpose when you don't have other people to put in your life. When you are always the center of the universe, you will feel oftentimes rudderless and purposeless. It increases anxiety and depression when you're isolated. We just know that. Like, study after study has shown that. It fuels unhealthy habits and unhealthy thinking. Think about 2020, right? When we were more isolated. Did that make us mentally healthier or less healthy? Less healthy. 4 people knew that. The rest of you learned something, and that's great. It made us less healthy. For some of us, it made us kind of nuts. Some of us are still kind of nuts ever since then. Some of the nuts are in the room with us right now. Some of them might be standing on the stage. 2020 was a rough year. And for lots of us, we felt more isolated and alone than ever before. And it wasn't great for our mental health, and it wasn't great for our perspective. So here's why things are quite a bit different now than they were 2,000 years ago during Jesus' time. In the ancient world, loneliness was a feeling, right? But you still had to so often go out and go to the marketplace and get food and work with other people, and families tended to be larger. There was just no way to isolate yourself in the same way that we isolate ourselves today. So in the ancient world, loneliness was a feeling. People could absolutely feel alone in what they were going through, or feel misunderstood. No doubt about that, but it was a feeling. In our day, it's become a lifestyle. Like, loneliness is a choice. And many times we feel like, man, I could go grab dinner with friends, or I could go hang with that person, or I could grab a drink with them, but I'd rather just stay at home and watch the finale of Stranger Things and hang out. That's how we feel. But what psychologists will tell you is that over time, we keep making the choice that seems like it's the one we want in the moment, but that in the long run, our continual choice to isolate as opposed to engage relationally with others actually makes us less happy and more sad. So there is a major cost to all of this isolation, and it's not new. I want to look this morning at a couple of biblical characters. I want to look at kind of their stories because I think they help us understand our own story better. The first one we're going to look at is a story of David. David was a king in ancient Israel, and he went through a period of his time when the current king, King Saul, was trying to kill him, assassinate him. And so he was fleeing for his life, and he was constantly being chased by Saul and by his men. And at one point, he's alone in a cave hiding out from Saul. It's a bigger story, but this there's a song in the middle of the Bible. It's in a collection of songs called the Psalms. And these Psalms are kind of fascinating because they usually start, like this is Psalm 142, and they usually start with an inscription. So this one starts with an inscription that says, a Psalm of David regarding his experience in the cave, a prayer. Now, what's interesting about the Psalms is that we don't actually know who wrote them. This Psalm says it's a song of David, but lots of the other Psalms say they're a song of someone, sometimes different groups of people. And this Hebrew word for of is Selah, and it can mean a song of David, or for David, or from David, or about David. So biblical scholars see this differently. We're not sure that David wrote this. It's very likely written by someone else, but based on David's life story. And so the idea here is that this story where he was in the cave, and he's off by himself, and no one understands he's fleeing for his life or what the stakes are for him, this song is written as if it were in that moment. And this is what we read in Psalm 142:1. I cry out to the Lord. I plead for the Lord's mercy. I pour out my complaints before him, and I tell him all my troubles. And when I'm overwhelmed, you alone know the way I should turn. Wherever I go, my enemies have set traps for me. You ever felt like that? Like man, it feels like everyone's against me. And people who aren't against me, they're at least not for me. I just feel like I'm blowing in the wind out here. That's how this psalmist is feeling. He goes on, I look for someone to come and help me, but no one gives me a passing thought. No one will help me. No one cares a bit what happens to me. He's just saying, look, I am carrying this incredibly heavy weight, and there is no one to shoulder some of it and take the pressure off of me. No one understands what I'm walking through. You ever felt like that before? Like even the people who love you best don't understand you, or at least they don't understand this moment. Like you're having these very challenging experiences, very challenging moments that you're walking through, and the people around you, even if they care, they just can't quite carry the burden with you. And so it's like, man, I thought I had life figured out, and then she died. And I had friends who told me, like, actually, I'm there for you, man. Anything you need, just let me know. But I don't know what I need. I just need someone to, like, sit and listen and understand. But no one really seems to have the time for that. I just feel like I'm carrying this alone. I feel like even if I tell my story, they can't really know what it's like to be me. And so I sit in the cave. And I feel so isolated. It's going to be really dark days. And that's what David almost certainly would have felt as he was continuously running for his life. And other people were setting themselves up as his enemies. But it's named. I feel like no one is here. I feel like no one understands. I feel like no one can help me shoulder the burden. Sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is name our pain. So sometimes you feel lonely. Sometimes it's just helpful to name it. I do feel lonely. I do feel like there aren't enough people in my life who really understand what I'm going through. Some of you feel like your parents raised you and you like them and you appreciate them, but like now you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and like they don't really know the person you are anymore. And they're your parents, so you want them to really know you, but they don't really know you. Or some of you feel like even since you've been married, you're just in a different place than you were when you first got married, and like your spouse doesn't even seem like they know you as much anymore. And you just need to name sometimes, like, look, I feel alone in this. I don't feel understood. And then determine, like, who is willing to hear me out? Who is willing to understand? Who is willing to carry the burden? Because for most of us, there are people in our lives who will. And if there aren't, we're going to talk about what steps to take in just a little bit. But the thing to name is whatever you're feeling. It's to drag it out into the light, because that stuff gets more power when it stays in the dark. If you're feeling lonely, but you just don't want to say it, it just feels hard to name, like it will be the unresolved thing that always sits just on the edge of your subconscious when you feel sad and unknown and unloved. We long to be known. We long to be loved. And David's saying, look, I'm feeling lonely. I don't feel like anyone's here with me, but he's naming it, and naming it is important. Sometimes we think we're alone, but we're not nearly as alone as we thought we were. There's a prophet in the book of 1 Kings in the Old Testament named Elijah. And he has this amazing, grandiose moment where he's facing off against these prophets of a false god called Baal. And so he's trying to represent Yahweh, the one true God of Israel, and he's facing off against these prophets. And he puts this calf on this altar, and he's like, go ahead, call on Baal. See if he will rain down fire to burn this calf up. But they call and they call and they call, and nothing happens. So he finally tells some of them to like throw water on the altar and just douse this thing, like get it completely soaking wet. I'm going to call on Yahweh. And so he does, and fire rains down from heaven and consumes the altar and consumes the cow. And it's a huge victory for him. And for most of us, we think like, oh, if I ever arrive at the mountaintop, if I'm ever the star, if I ever finally get that raise, that promotion, if I'm ever like finally like, oh, I'm king of a hill now, then life will be better. And I will surround myself with people who love me and they're in awe of my accomplishments. Oh, we don't usually think that at a conscious level. It's usually way subconscious. But we just think, if I can just get that next thing, finally life will be better. The very next chapter after this story, Elijah is depressed and sitting alone underneath a tree and asking God to take his life. Because he was successful and he never felt more isolated. We read this. The Bible doesn't just tell us what happened. This is why these stories, like we keep telling these stories over and over. Why? The Bible doesn't just tell us what happened, it tells us what keeps happening. And so as we see like what Elijah's going through, we recognize like, man, I've been there. I've been at the mountaintop, I've had the moment, and then I felt totally alone in it. In 1 Kings 19:4, then he went out alone into the wilderness traveling all day. He sat down under a solitary broom tree and he prayed that he might die. I've had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life, for I am no better than my ancestors who already died. Elijah replied, and this is a few verses down, he's still talking to the Lord, and he said, I've zealously served the Lord God Almighty, but the people of Israel have broken their covenant with you, torn down your altars, and killed every one of your prophets. I am the only one left, and now they're trying to kill me too. It's like, look, I've been faithful, I did the right thing, but all of Israel has turned their back on you, God. It's just me. I'm the only one left. You ever felt like the only one left? Like, man, there were a bunch of us. We were linking arms. We were all headed in the same direction. And like, now it's just me. I'm the last one standing. I feel like the only one left is just me. That's how Elijah feels. Interestingly, it's not true. He's not the only one left. But it feels like he's the only one left. And so just a few verses later, God tells him this. I will preserve the 7,000 others in Israel who have never bowed down to Baal or kissed him. Or say, Elijah, there are 7,000 others like you. They have also refused to bow down to the false gods. You think you're alone, but you're not. For a lot of us, we can get to this place in our lives where it feels like we're alone. We think we're alone, but we're not. And part of the reason that we keep choosing self-isolation, choosing it, is because it seems easier than actually building relationships. Why? Well, relationships can be challenging. Let's just name that. That is true. They take time. They take energy. They take money a lot of times. Relationships can be challenging. Even household relationships can be challenging. My wife, Emily, and my son, William, and I were sitting down a couple of weeks ago and we were talking, and Emily and I were talking about like, hey, yeah, we haven't been to this particular, I don't even remember what place we're talking about. So we haven't been there in about 15 or 20 years. And Will said, wow, 15 or 20 years. And my wife said, yeah. He was like, so Mom, you were like in your 20s when you were there last time. And Emily was like, yes. He said, wow, so that was when you were like really pretty. And I said, whoa, what? And he was like, no, Mom said a couple weeks ago that people in their 20s are the prettiest they'll ever be. I was like, okay, that applies to everyone else except your mother. Your mother is always the prettiest every time, no matter how old she is. And he was like, okay, I got you. Relationships can be challenging. Social faux pas can be challenging. Sticking your foot in your mouth can be challenging. And that's if you live in the same household. You ever tried to like schedule something, right? Like you think there's these benefits to connection, but like just scheduling connection with other people is incredibly challenging. We have friends who live in Corona that we've been trying to eat dinner with for 2 months now. They might as well live 1,000 miles from here. Like we just can't do it. It's like, oh, can we do this day? Well, Jack's got a swim meet. Can we do that day? Well, Kayla's got a dance recital. Can we do that day? Well, we're out of town then. Oh, my mom's coming to visit then. We can't make it then. Can't get a babysitter for that. That restaurant closed down. They said they don't want us there anymore. Like, it's just whatever, right? And so it becomes like, hey, can we get together tonight? No, next week, the month after, 2027. Got it. It's in the calendar. Like, that's the way it goes. It's very challenging. And yet there are these benefits. There are these major benefits to social connection because we were wired, we were built, we were designed, we were created for connection. That's why all throughout the biblical story, anytime someone feels alone or isolated, it's a lament, it's a psalm, it's a prayer, it's a feeling of isolation and depression. The very first story about human beings in the whole Bible, in Genesis, is about Adam and Eve. And there's like, God says Adam, like he surrounds them with animals. He's like, it's not good for man to be alone. The animals don't count, in other words. Like, it's great to have a dog, and it's probably great to have a cat. It's great to have animals, but like, it's not a substitute for human connection. And that's the story from Genesis to Revelation. In the entire Bible, it's not good for man to be alone. And then we find, like, yes, there are real, tangible, psychological, and just health, physiological benefits that come with connection. Again, this isn't mind-blowing. This isn't new. All of this is peer-reviewed and super available if you want to look it up. But here's a few. First of all, you live longer. You literally live longer if you have some good relationships in your life. And it's not just the like deep friendships you need. That's important too. You also need like there's a mid-tier section of people where you see them occasionally. You hang out. You know each other a little bit. It's not because you know every intimate secret about each other, but that mid-tier. That used to happen when people in ancient villages would go to the water well, and they'd be like, oh, there's Steve, there's Elvira, there's, normal names. Like this, like you knew each other a little bit. It's like, oh, it's good to see you here today. Or when people used to have like a neighborhood coffee shop or a neighborhood bar. I think for a while, that kind of middle space was filled in pretty well by like Starbucks in the United States, just generally. There were a lot of people who go to Starbucks regularly and like, they would see the same baristas, and they would know their order, and they would see some other people that they knew. Have you been to a new Starbucks recently? The amount of tables keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And increasingly, it's just drive through and run in and pick it up and leave. Like, even in those places that used to be those kind of mid-tier spaces, like they're disappearing completely. But if you have those deep relationships and you have some mid-tier spaces where you know some people and you are known, you will literally live longer. Now, it's true that having a pet can also help you live longer. Having a dog is pretty good. I assume cats kill you in your sleep by putting a pillow over your face. I don't actually know. But we know that having some animals can actually extend your lifespan, but none of that extends your lifespan like relational connection with humans. Like, you can literally live longer. That is a benefit of it. Here's another one. You can fight illness better. Your immune system literally works better when you have relationships and mid-tier spaces in your life. Here's another one. It helps protect your mental health. You are less likely to struggle with depression, less likely to struggle with anxiety. You're less likely to experience dementia if you have more relational connections in your life. If you have some people you can go deep with, and you have some other people who you know, and they're known by to some degree, kind of in that mid-tier space. You can bounce back from hardships better. It literally makes you more resilient. Why? Because if you've ever walked through something really hard on your own, if you've ever been in the cave like David, and you're just trying to figure it out, like, you don't have any feedback. Well, not me, Josh. I use ChatGPT. Stop it. ChatGPT is very helpful. It's also not your friend, no matter what it says. You need people in your life. Because you'll bounce back from hardship better when you have some people you can sit with and say, like, you know what it feels like? It feels like my heart's been ripped out of my body and stomped all over. And a friend says to you, I hear that, man. Not, I totally get it. Not, well, let me tell you about the time that, it took me too long to get through the checkout line. Like not that. I get it. I hear you. I hear you, man. You just need some human connection. It helps you bounce back from hardship to know that you have it in your life. You need it to feel more fulfilled. Again, you will feel more fulfilled when you realize your life is not primarily about you, but you can invest it into some other people, and it is about something much larger than you. The Atlantic article says this: there's a word for such deeply etched communal habits, it's rituals. This article is talked about, like, how do people, like, start to make connection in those mid-tier spaces? How do they start to make connections? You know what? Here's the word for it. It's ritual. It's that they make it so that they do it often. It becomes a part of the calendar. It's not something that happens ad hoc or when you can fill in the time or by chance. But on a regular basis, you are spending time with other people and you are connecting with them. Some deeply and some in that more mid-tier, like we're just getting to know each other kind of thing. Those things are helpful. And here's where this Atlantic article, written by Derek Thompson, who, as far as I know, is not a Christian. He says this: one reason perhaps that the decline of socializing has synchronized with the decline of religion is that nothing has proved as adept at inscribing ritual into our calendars as faith. There is this reality that lots of stuff can create community, okay? Because really all you need is like something in common and you start to feel a little bit of community, right? If you're a Lakers fan, if you're even walking around and you see somebody else with a Lakers shirt on, it's like, that is my brother, right? Immediately, like I love that person, right? If they're wearing Boston Celtics, it's like, I will never talk to that person, right? There's just like things that are true. So a little bit of commonality can either like hotwire connection and relationship or make it a lot harder, depending on what it is, right? You see, for a long time, I don't know if they still do this, for a long time, Jeep owners in the United States, they would have a little Jeep wave that they would do to other Jeep owners. And if you were driving a Kia, you're not in the club, okay? It's nothing personal. They just don't like you. If you've ever seen, so even agreeing that something is bad can connect you to somebody. My family and I went to go see the new Avatar movie a couple nights ago. And it had a fairly low Rotten Tomatoes score, but the audience score was like 90% thumbs up positive. I hated it. I really, really didn't like it at all. I won't go into my whole review as to why, but it's the same movie as last time, but I paid, $20 more to see it again. So I was just annoyed by it, and I walked out, and I heard two guys behind me, someone went, "That was awesome." And he looked at his kids and was like, "What's your favorite part?" And I'm like, "That guy and I are not friends." And then there was a guy between me. I guess I turned around and looked at him like he was insane. I didn't mean to, but I guess I did that like involuntarily. And the guy behind me, who I didn't know at all, he saw the look on my face and he just goes, "Did you like the movie?" And I said, "No. Did you?" He was like, "Awful." I was like, "Yeah, we are friends for life now, right?" Like it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bit of connection. So lots of things can create some amount of connection or community. But churches, historically, have really created community. And this is one of the things that Derek Thompson points to in the Atlantic article. Like the decline of socialization has oftentimes run parallel with the decline of religious adherence in our society, and our society is worse for it. That there's something about being a part of a community. Here's the amazing thing about a church community. Churches, like when the church started back shortly after Jesus died and raised from the dead, the idea behind the church was like, it does not matter what your ethnic background is. It was the first religious tradition that was true. It does not matter what your ethnic background is. It does not matter what your socioeconomic background is. It does not matter what you've done in your past that you're ashamed of. If you're trying to make the risen Jesus the Lord of your life, you're a part of this. And so people flock to it because these early disciples, they experienced something. They experienced a dead man rising, and they were trying to figure out everything that meant for years after Jesus actually rose from the dead. And the church starts, and they're still trying to figure out all of the implications of this. It took Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, it took him several years to allow himself to include Gentiles who were outside of the Jewish bloodline. But eventually God broke through in his heart, and he became one of the people who ushered the Gentiles into the church, along with the Apostle Paul and others at the Jerusalem Council that you find in Acts 15, if you're interested in that story. It is an amazing story because it's when the church said, "We so believe in the goodness and the grace and the mercy and the resurrection of Jesus Christ that we are throwing open the doors, and anybody else who wants to stack hands on that can stack hands with us." Historically speaking, it was a major tentpole moment in the history of humanity because that understanding of what it means to find community with others, even who are very different from you, shifted and changed Western society over the next couple of thousand years. So in the book of Acts, we find that in chapter 2, these people meeting together, and it says, and all the believers met together in one place, and they shared everything they had, and they sold their property and possessions, and they shared money with those in need, and each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. It was like so attractive and so novel and so different that people flocked to it. Churches create community. And if you're here this morning, whether you're actually find yourself as a believer in Jesus, as someone who wants to make him the Lord of your life, or if you're still checking out faith or you're not sure, a lot of times, right, you think you're alone. And the message that you need to hear this morning is the same one that Elijah and David needed to hear thousands of years ago, but you're not. You're not. You're surrounded by people who for 2,000 years of church history, the best of them have modeled Jesus and the early church in throwing open the doors and being radically welcoming to every person who longs to connect. We need connection. And if sometimes you feel lonely, you are not alone. And if sometimes you feel lonely, perhaps one of the things you need is to connect with other people within a community of faith. It's one of the reasons that we offer things like Activate here. You know, Audrey mentioned this earlier. And if you haven't taken Activate yet as a 4-week course, I just want to encourage you to do it, not just because you'll learn some things about yourself and some things about Verve City, but because you'll meet some people. And it'll serve as like a gateway into a community of faith that would love to connect with you. And so I just want to encourage you to consider, this starts next Sunday. So it just starts in a week. And today, you can already take advantage of that kind of mid-tier space, because right after I'm done here, you can walk out there and eat pasta with a bunch of people you don't know that well. There's never a better time to get to know someone than when you're slurping spaghetti into your mouth, okay? It worked for Lady and the Tramp. It can work for you. Although don't share it like that. That's going to be awkward if I walk out and everybody's like, yeah, it's fine. All right, so, but after pasta, like, you want to take Activate. And then in March, that's just about 6-7 weeks from now. 6-7, geez, sorry. Comes up more than I wish. And then in March, we're going to offer Rooted. And if you've never taken that, if you've never been a part of a small group experience here, this is a way. And I'm not promising you that Pasta and Activate and Rooted is going to hotwire the deepest relationships you've ever had in your life. You need some of that, and you will probably, if you hang out here, if you commit to being here, you'll probably find some of that here. You almost certainly will. But you need that mid-tier as well. And I do promise you'll find that in all those places. That's a place for that. The benefits of you weren't created to be alone, and you're not. So part of it is recognizing what reality actually is. And look, if you had an easy time making friends in school and in college, but you have a hard time now and you feel lonely and isolated, I want to invite you into community. Psalm 142 of David's loneliness in the cave doesn't end with lament. It ends like this in verse 5. Then I pray to you, O Lord. I say, you are my place of refuge. You are all I really want in life. David felt lonely and isolated, but he found consolation in the Lord. And you can too. You can find consolation in the Lord, understanding in the Lord, understanding in Jesus, who has gone through everything you've been through, who also felt very isolated and alone during parts of his ministry. And you can also find friendship and connection in his church. And I can't think of a better way to start 2026 than to loudly stand with all of these other people around you and boldly proclaim, you know what? I've got issues. But one of them, the loneliness, can in part be resolved by the connections you find here. God, thank you for the time together today. And God, thanks for allowing us a little space at the beginning of this new year to shed some light on the issues that we have. And Lord, if there's anyone in this room who sometimes feels lonely, I just hope that they know that they are not alone in their loneliness. Lots of us feel that way sometimes. God, would you help us prioritize community? God, maybe bring some people to our mind today who we haven't talked to in a little while that we could send a text message to today. Tell them I'm thinking about you. Help us to make the time in our calendar to grab dinner with friends, to remember the joy of human fellowship and relationship. Help us to reconnect with our spouse or our coworker or our classmate that we've missed out with. Lord, and give us a vision for what your church can look like when your people are committed to Jesus and committed to community. And may the love of Jesus And the community that Jesus built through his church 2,000 years ago be something that inspires us and lifts us all throughout this coming year. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Let's stand together as a community of believers this morning as we just declare the name of Jesus over this place, whether we're struggling with loneliness or anything else, whatever we need to seek refuge from. Let's worship. Let's sing this out together. Come on. I just want to speak the name of Jesus over every heart and every mind. 'Cause I know there is peace within your presence. I speak Jesus. I just want to speak the name of Jesus till every dark addiction starts to break, declaring there is hope and there is freedom. I speak Jesus. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. I just want to speak the name of Jesus over fear and all anxiety, to every soul held captive by depression. I speak Jesus. Oh, your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Your name is power, Jesus. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Shout Jesus from the mountains, Jesus in the streets, Jesus in the darkness over every enemy, Jesus for my family. I speak the holy name, Jesus. Come on, let's declare his name this morning. Shout Jesus. Shout Jesus from the mountains, Jesus in the streets, Jesus in the darkness over every enemy, Jesus for my family. I speak the holy name, Jesus. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Your name is power. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Hey, our shepherding elders are in the corners of this room. They would love love the chance to pray with you this morning. Be blessed, Verve City Church. Go have some pasta. Never thought I would say that on a Sunday morning, but go eat it up. It smells amazing out there. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.